Welcome back to the Snod Pod with Jon Snodgrass, your mortgage resource where we're talking real estate, mortgages, and beyond. Today, I've got Justin Shurr of Airmasters in to talk some HVAC, some heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Justin, first, thanks for coming into the Snod Pod, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, I usually just like to start out, hey, how did you get in to, HVAC, heating, ventilation business? And,
Sure.
and did you start your own business right away, or what was your journey to starting Airmaster? So there's like 3 questions in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I just kind of fell into it.
Okay.
I was going to, right out of high school, engineering school. I got a summer job, with a neighbor. And at that point, I just kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I was having fun.
Okay.
So I figured I'd take a little bit of time off school, and that ended up me just sticking with HVAC.
Okay.
It was fun for me.
Okay. So the first company you worked with, like, how long were you working there? And I mean, did you have like
Sure.
a mentor that, showed you the ropes, or?
Yeah, I did. I worked for a company for about 5 years.
Okay.
Several different mentors while I was there.
Okay.
Kind of learned the ropes, and after a while, you start doing side jobs. Your friends and your family, they
Sure,
kind of figure
yeah.
out that you're doing
Yeah.
this stuff, and it ends up that you're so busy doing that. One day I stopped and I was like, wow, I could probably keep myself busy, with just this other work that I've curated for myself. So it's a giant leap to go from, having this steady job to, you have to count on jobs coming in. But
Yeah.
Took that leap about 5 years in, started a company. That was about 20 years ago now. So
Wow.
I've owned Airmasters for 20 years. It's crazy to think that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
20
congratulations, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
20
Just
years.
hit my 20-year mark.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
So we met when you were kind of putting in a zone
Mm-hmm.
in my office because I wasn't getting much heat in there, and I was
Yeah.
like wearing a parka. And so, yeah, and then when I needed a furnace, I had reached out to you, and, you guys did a great job doing that. So, yeah, just kind of how we met. But I guess a question for you on furnaces, like how many people do you think, how many quotes do you think you should get? Like, if somebody's watching from out of state, I mean, if they're here, just get a quote from you.
Sure. Yeah. We definitely want to be your guys, but I don't know, 3, I guess, is a good number.
Okay.
At that point, you have hopefully a pretty good idea of some averaging of different costs.
Okay. And then the different types of furnaces. I know you had given me a bunch of different options.
Sure.
Like, efficiency, like 98%. I mean, can you speak to?
Yeah, I mean, the different types within the brands all come down to efficiency. So
Okay.
At the end of the day, you got to kind of look at how much do you want to pay on your gas bills.
Yeah.
To go from one level to another might save you 10%.
Okay.
On your gas heating costs. So the best way to do that is kind of look at your We Energies bills, do some math, try to figure out how much your gas usage is over the winter, and see how much 10% savings will incur for you to kind of decide if going the next level up in a furnace is worth it.
Okay.
Typically, I mean, Wisconsin, we're a heating climate. We heat so much here. I'm a big advocate for the more efficient furnaces. I think they save you money.
Okay. What about I'm just thinking like the filters, because I feel like when I go down, Home Depot or Menards, there's a variance in price. What I don't know if credence is the right word. What do you put into the filter?
Man, the filter is the most important part
Really?
of your HVAC system.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
It's the most overlooked part, and people overlook it, and it damages the equipment. So
Yeah.
Another huge problem I'm seeing in our industry is the manufacturers are outputting these super high-end, like hyperallergenic filters, and it's counterproductive. It's restricting the air through the furnace and damaging it. So I'm a big advocate for a medium grade filter. Okay. I think we have started to forget what the purpose of a filter is, and really it's not to clean your house air. It's to protect the furnace from dust.
Really?
And any
Okay.
good medium grade filter will do that.
Okay. So protecting the furnace, I guess I didn't even realize that. So what about so like a lower, I mean, because the costs kind of vary, because I feel like I'm paying, I don't know, 60, $70.
Right.
And then I think you had recommended I call, or not, just get like a bulk.
Sure.
The company that I was using was like Air something, I forget offhand. But anyways, you mean
pay less.
Yeah.
Like, who tells you to do that these days? You know,
Yeah.
pay less. It's actually better for the furnace.
Yeah. Pay less on the
pay less for the filter.
Pay less for the filter.
Don't buy the real high end one. You know, buy that medium grade one.
Medium grade.
Yeah,
Okay.
It'll be healthier for your furnace.
Okay. And then what about cleaning the vents? Like, I feel like I did it after Kowalski Kitchen and Bath did my renovation.
Yeah.
Just figuring like there was dust and they've ripped apart my whole first floor.
Sure.
So after renovation, is that recommended? And then in taking out the renovation, how often should we be cleaning the vents?
You know, I think there's certain situations that call for it, which would be after construction. You know, construction dust gets in there. You know, the dust gets on the filters more, plugs them up faster. So it is good to get that out of there. Another good time would be, you know, when a house changes hands. Like, there's been other people in there. Who knows how dirty things have been for how long? That would be a good point. Beyond that, I guess I don't really have a time frame. If I were to try to put something to it, maybe every 10 years, you know.
Okay.
I think others might disagree with that, but I don't think you need to do it as much as some other people might say you do.
Okay, got it. What about, like, you know, for somebody that's like watching out of state and, you know, you're getting to close to replacing the furnace, what kind of questions should we be asking, you know, somebody like you?
Sure. Well, I mean, definitely you want to talk about efficiency of the furnace. Pay attention to, you know, what your heating costs are, you know, when making that decision. Brands, I'm kind of a bigger fan of some brands than others. So, I mean, you can't believe everything you read online. A lot of people say a lot of different things, but, you know, try to stick with a more, you know, recognized brand, because parts are always going to be more available.
Sure.
And something that locally in your area is carried well. So, like, there's a good local distribution.
Which is what you had talked to me about, and I really appreciated your advice, because I was, you know, I talked to a couple others, but in the other place I was talking to, you're like, well, look, their parts are made in, you know, Texas or Mexico or China, and you're like, hey, you know, Brian is from here, right?
Well, it's more, well, yeah, I mean, it's Indianapolis. So,
super close.
A big reason we use Bryant is for the local support.
Yeah.
So I think it's great equipment, number one. Number two, we have a great, large local supply house with a lot of support that carries it locally here. There are some other brands that, you know, I think might be pretty good too, but they don't have a lot of good local support. So their local distribution here isn't great. So getting parts can be a challenge. Getting the furnaces can be a challenge, which, you know, that not having that kind of support makes it hard for me to provide the service to my customers. Yeah. So
keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So just to sum it up, if you're out of state looking for somebody, like, you know,
or in state, in
state, you know,
local.
Try to pick a company or a brand that has good local support.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of similar to bringing my mortgage business into the realm of conversation here, is, you know, going local. Like, a lot of the realtors I work with, you know, they prefer working with somebody local compared to like a, you know, a bigger box type place that you're listening to on the TV or radio, just because, hey, I'm available all the time, and I don't know, local's better.
Yeah, we care a little bit more.
We care a little bit more, and we know the area. Yeah, so I had reached out to you because my heat exchanger had kind of started to go, and I was at like 10, 11 years, and you had said, hey, look, you can replace this, John, but it's with the labor, you're out of warranty, it's going to be pricey. I feel like it was like a third, almost like maybe not quite a third of the cost of a new furnace.
Yeah, it could be close to a third. It kind of depends on, you know, the furnace and your situation. So, fortunately, I don't remember exactly how old your furnace is. I feel like
it was like 11 years.
Was
it was like 11
years?
Which was a bummer, but
So
and it wasn't yours. It was, you know, the previous owner of my house.
You had an option at that point, you know, repair or replace.
Yeah, and you just walked me through, like, hey, John, like, in you, I think you had said, I was like, what do you think I should do? It's like, hey, hey, I'm giving you the information, you make the call. But to me, it just made, more sense. Let's just get
That's how I've always tried to do things, like just throw the information to you so you can make an informed decision. Yeah, I mean, I guess once furnaces get a little bit older, that is the concern, that heat exchanger is going to go bad.
Yeah.
Yours was a little premature. It probably shouldn't have happened that fast.
Yeah.
We hope normally to get a little closer to 20 out of them. But, when people are thinking about maybe, when should I be thinking about replacing my furnace? It's close to that 20-year mark.
20-year mark,
yeah.
Okay.
At that point, you're starting to get concerned that, like, the heat exchanger is going bad, might start leaking carbon monoxide. So it's a safety thing.
Yeah. I won't go into what happened, but there was an incident where, some water had gotten into the furnace. I think that had played some role.
Yeah.
So maybe why it didn't last long. Because that kind of led me where I was going was what should we expect for the longevity of a furnace these days? Sounds like
about 20 years,
Okay.
Sometimes they go a little sooner than that, especially, unfortunately, in the modern manufacturing world where nothing is made to last as long as it used to.
Sure. What can I do to, do my part to, I mean, you just put it in October, but what can I do to, make sure the longevity stays there as a homeowner?
I mean, everything leads back to changing those filters and
Really?
not putting in such a high-end one. Yeah. That's the single most important thing you can do. Okay. Beyond that, you should have it maintained periodically. The manufacturers will say every year, and that's the safest way to do it, but at least do it every few years.
Yeah. But I mean, to have you in, once a year, it's not that expensive for you to come check it out, is it? Or
$100.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Like to make sure your
a
furnace
reasonable
lands.
cost. To look things over, make sure everything's okay.
Okay. Why? I'm just thinking about the because I'm always thinking, well, maybe I should get the high end. It's my furnace. I paid a lot of money for it.
Sure.
What's the reason behind not getting a high end filter?
It's going to be very restrictive on the furnace.
It's restrictive.
Yeah.
Got it.
And airflow is so important with these things.
So restrictive on the airflow.
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to restrict the airflow more through the furnace.
Okay.
And the more the furnace can breathe, and it needs the proper airflow, the healthier it's going to be and the better it's going to work, the less likely to malfunction.
Okay.
Beyond that, I mean, these, real restrictive filters, they filter out so many microparticles that, that do not hurt the furnace. And then they plug up fast.
Okay.
Real fast.
Okay. One thing I remember, when you replaced the furnace, I had some sort, I don't know, it was a damper or something that was supposed to kill viruses. I paid, a pretty good chunk. I think you put it into the new furnace.
Yeah.
What is that thing?
A UV light.
UV
light.
light.
So they're.
And what does that do?
They're made to kill microbes.
Okay.
Okay. Viruses.
Yeah. Okay. I just, I didn't get that from you. I got it from the people that.
We kept it there for you.
Yeah, you kept it there for me. But I thought that was, hey, if I can get one less cold a winter.
If I would do something like that before I would put in a hyperallergenic filter.
Okay.
I think that would be healthier. That's healthier for the system.
Really?
That can restrict the air.
Okay.
If you're really concerned about killing like microbes, that's the way to go.
Okay. And it's not like hurting the efficiency of the furnace, or is it like supplemental? Or
not at all. Not affecting the airflow. It's just a supplemental thing that you can put in there. Ionizers are a great thing too. Very similar to UV lights.
Okay.
I'm probably a larger fan of those these days.
Of the ionizers. Okay.
Less maintenance.
Okay.
The UV bulbs you're supposed to change every year or two.
Okay.
The ionizers just do their work. Maybe brush them every once in a while.
Okay.
Not a huge recurring maintenance expense.
How long do they last, an ionizer?
5-10 years.
Okay. Then the UV is just I just got to replace the bulb, or how long?
Replace the bulb, but they still probably last 5-10 years.
5-10 years. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I just thought it was a good thing. It's like, man, I'm trying to avoid getting sick. My kids are 6 and 10, and man, they're little.
Typically, you put them above the AC coil.
Okay.
And that's a place where a lot of standing water builds up. So that will help keep that from buildup of mold, microbes.
Okay. So mid-grade filter, as far as maintaining, make sure you're doing it every couple of months. I think you had told me, remind me, every 3-ish months, 2-3, or depending on the filter.
You have a little bigger filter, so for yours, 6 months to a year.
6 months to a year for my filter. Okay. Got it. And then the maintenance, consider once a year. Maybe can I hold out brand new one for 2 years, or should I reach out?
I mean, newer one, yeah, you would think that you
Make
wouldn't
it
have
two.
to
All right,
do
I'll
it
check
right
in with you in
away, but
October.
Yeah. We should probably look at it at this point because I feel like that was probably 2 years ago.
Okay. No, you just put it in.
Was that this year?
Yeah, October, just 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. You did the renovation, the venting and creating a zone.
That was
like
years
2,
ago.
3 years ago. Yeah, that's when we met.
Should have reviewed that before we had this interview.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Before we get into like air conditioning, maybe we'll do that one next.
Sure.
I had a recent customer where they were looking at a house. I can't remember if it was Tosa or West Dallas, but they had like a 50-year-old boiler in it. And so they called me and they're like, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not, an expert, but from what I've heard is, boilers, I don't know, they can last. I mean, do you see many boilers out there, at houses still? And if yes, how would you answer a question like that?
Yeah. We still see quite a few boilers.
Okay.
And yeah, boilers can be like tanks, especially the old ones. Back in the day, they built things a lot sturdier, not as efficient, and that's the trade-off.
Got it.
But still, they don't last forever.
Okay.
So having an old piece of equipment like that definitely should be looked at,
Before you
quite
buy.
A bit.
Yeah.
We are concerned at that point during the age that the seals inside would break down. It starts leaking carbon monoxide.
Oh, we don't want carbon monoxide.
Yeah. So it's just for safety should be looked at.
So somebody that has a boiler, or maybe for a furnace too, I guess just popped into my head here, should we have a smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector in the furnace room?
The code is that you have to have one per floor. So one in the basement, one
I've got
per
one in the
living
basement,
floor.
like down by my stairs.
Yep.
But
and that's important. You should have one in your house too, within, I think it's 10 feet of your bedroom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you should have them every floor.
So it doesn't necessarily matter that if I have an additional one in the furnace room, having just the one in the basement is fine.
Yeah, I mean
that's code, but is it worth considering putting one in, or if you had a boiler?
I would put it in the furnace room. Yeah, especially if you had a boiler. A forced air furnace, like if it should leak carbon monoxide, it would go through the ductwork and kind of go everywhere. A boiler, when it leaks CO, it's going to be more contained to that area.
Yeah, because I know that was the concern with my heat exchanger was, hey, you should really look at this because it can. Right now, like the levels you had checked were not bad.
Yeah.
But you just never know.
Well, you can catch those things. There's signs before it starts leaking into the air. Like yours in particular was combusting really high. So we knew it was getting really plugged up on the inside. Caught it before it started leaking in the air. So that's why we checked.
You had the camera in there. And
yeah.
That was pretty awesome. So another boiler question. So for this customer, I was just like, all right, if you do get the house, maybe if you're thinking of replacing it, consider what that cost is going to be. And cost of replacing a boiler with a new furnace, is that going to be more than replacing a furnace with a furnace because the boilers are like tanks you mentioned? Or?
Yeah, boilers are a lot more expensive than furnaces.
To take out?
Well, yeah, to replace, period. It's all
okay.
part of it, the removal, the
Couple
reinstallation.
thousand?
I would call it twice as much as
Twice as much?
furnace. Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's good to know for people buying and something, if you really love the house.
To that point, like your client's buying that house, that's definitely something they should have in their budget.
Yeah.
So even if like you call someone in and it checks out and it's okay, it is coming down the road for them. So,
yeah. So check it out.
Yeah, definitely have it in their budget. They should be saving for that.
Now, asbestos, because I feel like, like my Tosa house that I grew up in, at some point we had an old massive tank of a boiler, and I remember my parents at some point when I was in high school getting an asbestos person. They had the suit on.
Yep.
Are you dealing with asbestos? Are you looking for asbestos? Or
Oh yeah, I mean it's around. Sometimes it's very clear. A lot of times it's wrapping on ductwork. Old boilers are encased in it, and we have subcontractors that we hire. So
okay, so you're not doing it. That's not in your realm of.
Yeah, we're not
subcontract out. Okay.
Yeah, we subcontract that out versus us being asbestos certified. So
Okay.
It's better just to concentrate on what we do, and then bring people in when it's something else, in my opinion.
Okay.
So yeah, we have a separate contractor that will call in to take out asbestos when we run into it.
Okay. So you got to stop work right there?
Well, I mean, we know before we start work.
You know before. Okay.
I would say 99% of the time.
Okay.
It's visible. We know
Okay.
what it is. I mean, to really know, you'd have to have it tested, but like, I know what it is.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. It's not as hidden as maybe some other fields might be. We're not digging in attics,
Yeah.
with different insulations that, some of it could have asbestos, some not.
Okay.
And in that case, I mean, there's places that do testing. You send it in, it gets tested.
Are you looking or do anything, dealing with mold at all, or giving any recommendations?
Yeah, I mean,
or?
mold also, like, we don't do mold testing. So when people have concerns with that, I'll refer them somewhere else if
Okay.
they're, if they want to get something tested. Sometimes it's pretty clear. I mean, old AC coils sometimes will get moldy. So
Okay.
at that point, yeah, we'll be like, clean or replace it, whatever we think the situation calls for.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap this one up. But before we do, and then we'll talk some air conditioning. It's prime time. We're in April here. But any questions I didn't ask, or anything, any tips that you have for people, or advice on
I was real happy to talk about the filters today.
The filter,
It's
yeah.
such a thing that
That's so simple.
It's so simple,
Wow.
but so important.
Yeah.
So I
replace
just had
the
to make sure
filters.
we covered that in
Yeah.
this one.
Awesome. Well, Justin, thanks for the episode here on heating, furnaces, and ventilation, and appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Justin Shurr, Air Masters. Do you want to give your phone number and
Yeah. I mean,
website? Or?
Sure. It's
Yeah.
airmasterswi.com.
Airmasters.wi. We'll get it across the
Yeah,
bottom.
there you go. Yep.
All right, cool. All right, this has been the Snod Pod with Jon Snodgrass, your mortgage resource. We're talking mortgages, real estate, HVAC, heating, and beyond. Thanks for coming in.